Hello, everyone. This is Josh Sayer, and today I'm going to be covering for all of those real estate agents out there who wonder, how many doors do I need to knock on before I get a deal? I'm going to answer that question for you today. I'm going to do it very quickly, easily, and simply with this whiteboard illustration here. So let's talk about it. So for a lot of you, you've said, I don't want to go on the phone because I'm better in person and everyone's on the phone. So I might as well not be on the phone because it's going to be more personable. And I've definitely felt that way before, especially when I moved out to the Phoenix market. It just seemed like everyone's phone was getting blown up. So I said, okay, let me door knock, especially for sale by owners, expireds, and canceled. Let me door knock these people because everyone else is calling them. If I try to call, like I'm just going to be another fish in the barrel, basically. But if I door knock them, I can make a personalized connection. I can connect with them. And it's far harder to slam the door in someone's face than it is to slam the phone down and hang up on somebody. So people don't want to be jerks. Most of the time, people don't want to be jerks. So let's just talk through this. So I would say it's been my experience that if you have just a neighborhood, right, a bunch of houses, that going around and knocking on all these doors is not super efficient. You're going all over the place. A lot of people have do not solicit signs or whatever it is. You don't really have a reason to be talking to them. So just going into a neighborhood and knocking on the door, I found it to be less than enjoyable for both parties. So trying to do this with everybody, I found to not be super effective. What I have found to be pretty effective is when you have a neighborhood and let's say you got a FSBO over here, say FSBO right here. And come on now. And an expired over here. And then another expired over here, or canceled right here. And then a probate over here. You could go to the same neighborhood and hit 4 more warm, sort of hotter things, maybe a foreclosure over here. You could hit 4 or 5 properties that are actually reasonably thinking about selling or like have a reason for you to contact them. And so with the FSBO, you might have your certain script there. And with the probate, you might have your certain script there, and expired, certain script there, and foreclosure, certain script there, and a canceled, certain script there. And what you can do is you can do maybe a little bit of research ahead of time so you can search and see if these people actually live there, or you can go to their actual like tax address or mailing address. I've used resources before like batch leads or just the county like tax records and stuff. I would say batch leads is a higher quality thing. Like I'm going to get better information and intel out of that. But I might search this stuff beforehand and say, okay, I'm going to knock on 10 doors today. But the 10 doors are going to be really high quality doors. I might write out like a special note. I might even do a CMA and take that with me. And even if this house is for sale, but the owners don't actually live here, right? They live over here. And same ones for these people as well. They actually live over here. And that was just like a rental or something. I'm going to go and drop this stuff off and then hit these 3 or 4 houses or something like that. So I'm going to do my research ahead of time. I'm going to knock on actual hot doors, and then I'm going to try to convert those at a far higher level because you need to talk to way fewer people if you're doing this than if you're doing this. This might be 1 out of, again, probably similar to the cold calling numbers, 1 out of 150. Maybe a little bit better since it's in person. So maybe it's 1 out of, I'd probably say closer to 150, just because how things are nowadays. There's so many people that either rent their property out or they don't live there, or it's they're not interested, or they just moved, or they got a great interest rate compared to what they could get today. So this is just what I've seen is that it's probably close for this nowadays. Whereas with this, if I'm going and actually going to these hotter deals, like an expired, for example, I think the stats are that 40% of them will relist in the days with a new agent. They vary in different markets, but that's just what I've seen is a stat that said 40% of expireds, cancels will relist in 30 days with a new agent. FSBOs, 90% of the time, they're going to work with an agent. It's just a matter of who. Probates, those people are highly motivated, often really want to sell. Like foreclosures, same thing. Sometimes you could work out a creative finance thing, or maybe pay their arrears, take care of them, get them to a better situation, then relist it. There's all these things where you can give people solutions. You can help them out. Let's talk about the probate thing. Probate, somebody passed away, passed along the property to their descendants. And what you could do is you could offer to clean up the house. You could offer to stage it. You could get the professional photos, get it nice and clean, maybe do handyman work or pay someone to do handyman work. This is after they decide to list with you, not before. But you offer these services, you take care of everything. A lot of them are often out of state. So you could say, hey, I'll mail all your stuff back. This is the strategy that I would recommend. FSBO, 90% and then 30% of those expireds are canceled. So this is the strategy I would use right here. I would go to hot potential deals and I'd go after them. Just because you got to think, if you're going to just like cold door knock, you got to drive out there. There's a lot of time that's going to be wasted. I think the stats I've seen is that 30% of people are not going to be home. Then you got to think of the people that are going to be home and they have a dog who's super loud and you're just trying to talk. You're trying to give your quick elevator pitch and the dog's going insane, or you knocked on the door and you woke the baby up. There's a lot of things that are tough with that. Versus if you're going after a hot list, I would say it's less likely that those things are going to happen. And you could be more strategic about your timing and stuff like that. There's a lot of good things in terms of hot door knocking, going after hot deals when door knocking. That's what I would recommend. If you're going to do cold door knocking, I would say it's going to take you 150 people to get one appointment. If you're doing hot door knocking, man, I've seen it where I go out, I knock 5 doors and I get an appointment. I've done that quite often. I've taken a lot of listings this way. So I would say it's probably 10% of this number. I'd say 15 hot knocks in order to get an appointment, which is so much better. It takes so much less time to do this. So hopefully that's helpful. That is my experience in terms of door knocking, and see you in the next video.